we are guaranteed Matvei. And listen, I hope Matvei Michkov is a Flyer for 20 years. We're guaranteed 3 years of him. Like, he has an entry-level contract, and if you don't think teams are going to be like, oh, yeah, we're going to offer sheet him, we're going to target him, we're going to try to trade for him, we're going to be back-channeling to be like, you want to hit free agency, right? Maybe don't sign right away. Don't sign that 8-year contract immediately. You know, like, you need to – it might not need to be the priority right now, but you need to put something around him where he sees the light at the end of the tunnel. This team, and again, they could come together. It could get back to what it was for the first 2/3 of last season. But this team right now isn't close to that team that went out and overachieved last year.
I think they have talent that they can do that, but I have to put this on the coaching staff right now because it doesn't seem like they have any idea what to do with these guys. You know, Tortorella, I don't like how many mind games he's already playing this season. We know that's his MO. We know that's how John Tortorella coaches teams. But 2-3 weeks into the season, he's already, you know, scratching Tyson Forrester, and it almost feels like he keeps Luchenko around as kind of a tool to kind of mess with these other guys sometimes. And it's a little too much too soon there, where I think you need to just build a cohesive unit, get these guys. I mean, maybe he's trying to get them all to hate him in classic Tort style and rally that way, like Major League or something. But I don't like what he's been doing so far. I don't really like how the coaching staff has been treating this lineup. And it feels like this is a team that's definitely underachieving. Again, I have no expectations for this team to be winning games, but I don't expect them to look as just
listless
and listless as they did tonight. They were abysmal. They were an unwatchable hockey team tonight. They were an unwatchable hockey team in the previous game. And that Seattle game, they were a hot mess, but at least they were kind of fun. You know, it's, I mean, personally, I mean, my post-game record's terrible. I think you need to stop inviting me. No, but only a fool would think such things because I have no bearing on how the Philadelphia Flyers play hockey, because if I could have just removed myself from podcasting years ago and seen them win a cup, I would have done it. It's just not an option, guys. I have no bearing on it. And John Tortorella, though, does have a bearing on it, and I want him to – I don't know. I don't know coaching well enough to really say what he needs to do, but he needs to do something to build a cohesive unit, and the only guys he's really left alone are the defense, and –
that's not going too great either.
No, not really.
There is some now belief, at least in the Flyers Twitter sphere,
which
that
we know that's always where all the best news comes from.
Well,
least fake news.
It's where we built our audiences, Steve.
It's where we're from, you know.
It's exactly.
Whether we like to admit it or
not. It's
my
hometown right there.
It's my hometown.
The way the season ended. Now, teams just kind of tightened up. The Flyers probably should have never. They overachieved, all that stuff.
They were pretty tired, too, like especially Couturier.
Absolutely.
And
the goaltending fell apart. Couturier has the core muscle injury. His game falls off a cliff. He's now at 31 games since his last goal.
Oh, baby. How about that? And the defense minus Sean Walker.
Yeah, Sean Walker. Sealer they have a whole bunch of defensive injuries. Stuff goes wrong. But also, they just didn't look like the same outworking your team. And there might be a belief that team's kind of done with Torts. The way they've started this year, I kind of wanted to brush that off because we have seen them, like in the last Fedotov game, it was like, oh, man, they're just beaten down by bad goaltending again. They look like they're just done with this. Then Harrison comes in and we see that pushback. It's like, all right, there's some life. Shut out in the home opener. 18 shots tonight. Giving up 2 shorthanded goals in a period. Is there something to it? Like, is there something maybe to John Tortorella and this team? Is it over this quickly?
I absolutely hate to give in to anything like this.
I hate this idea.
I hate it so much about it, but I really... And, like, I'm one of those guys, like, I really think Torts has done some good stuff in the past few years as far as, like, developing some guys, like Cam York, for instance. I think he's done some really good work there. Morgan Frost is a much better player than when he started under John Tortorella.
When he's on the ice, certainly.
Yeah, he's better than he was. You know?
Is. He definitely
is. The toilet lid is halfway, but it's sometimes is up good. I'm still trying to figure that out.
I don't know.
Up good, bad, I don't know. One of them, whatever. We're not getting into that. That's not safe for work here. But as far as talking about this goes, I don't want to give into this, but I'm thinking it today. I'm thinking it because they just don't look nearly the same as they did last year. and he is a hard guy to play for. He's absolutely one of the hardest guys. The thing is, you and I at this point, because we are Flyers veterans, we have seen a number of teams give up on their coaches, and some of the body language, some of the frustrations plays into that, because like we've seen Bill Barber, for instance. Bill Barber's when we saw them quit on. I'm trying to think of some other good ones out there. Ken Hitchcock.
I mean, it just
Peter Laviolette.
the
I think, is
last.
a great
Oh
example.
yeah, I mean,
Peter Laviolette fired
3 games.
around this point. Yeah,
3 games in. Yeah.
So hey, Tortsy, you made it double that. So congrats.
Yeah, it's. I don't think I'm there yet. Like
I'm not there yet.
I
but
see a frustrated team, and I'm hoping it's more frustration with their own play, their inability to cash in on the chances they do have. Like that Bobby Brink chance tonight. It's like,
yeah, Brink had.
It
some
looked
great
like he had
chances.
some. Looked like he had some room on the short side right when he got the puck. He pulls it in and tries to go backhand, and the goalie, he's just right there to glove it. And it was like, that's the best chance we're gonna get all night. And
he's one of the guys who had juice, though.
Yeah,
he had juice. He was out there trying to make things happen. And I truly love him for that.
I don't think they've given up on the coach. I don't think they've quit on the coach, but at a certain point, like we always say, you can't fire 23 guys.
Right.
And the coach is the easiest scapegoat. Now, because of the position they're in, and they're constantly telling us we are still rebuilding, and the playoffs this year aren't the goal. The playoffs is a few years down the goal is a few years down the line to be contending for Stanley Cups, not to be the 8th seed this season. So maybe that's an out for them where they don't have to do it. But I'll tell you, as much as Tortorella is part of my frustration to start this season, and I do think maybe he pushed the wrong buttons at times last year when starting with the Felix Sandstrom issue where he did come out and apologize, and the Sean Couturier scratch where he was just trying to do his thing and maybe it went the wrong way. But I know there's so many new guys, so I can't hold everyone to the same standard of teams going back to like 2014, you know? But I'm done with this. I am done with them quitting on the coach. I have seen it too much.
I've seen it too much.
When you like, they quit on every coach since Laviolette on. Every single one. It's like, yeah, they quit on him. And listen, I get that happens, and sometimes you do the quiet quitting, you know, where you just, I'm at work, but I ain't doing anything.
I think a lot of us have done jobs where you quietly quit.
I don't really think they're there yet, but if that happens, they need to at least retool this rebuild and rethink some of these guys that they think are part of the core. Because I can't deal with this. I can't go through another 8-year period where we quit on 4 coaches. No. That's gone. That's over with.
We've had so many coaches in our lifetime, Bill. Like I always like to think I've been a Flyers fan. Like I've been a Flyers fan like all my life, but really actively since 1995. And when you go through the number of coaches, I remember back during the pandemic, we did an episode of Flight where we kind of went through all the best coaches since 2000, and it is a staggering number of coaches to go through. And the Flyers, I think, go through, I don't know the numbers, but I have to imagine the Flyers go through coaches more rapidly than any other team, maybe in all of sports. Maybe in all sports.
It really, like, when you look at their hockey reference and just see the list of coaches, like, it's, if a guy lasts 3 years as Tortorella has, it's an anomaly.
This is honestly a pretty good run.
They fired Terry Murray after they went to the Stanley Cup final. Like, this is an organization that's always thrived on chaos, but they're not thriving anymore.
I believe it was a choking situation.
It was a choking situation. Now, that was like, listen, should they have been better? Yeah. Also, When you go
he was
back,
right, Clarky. He was right.
When you go back and look, it's like, well, that team then won again the next year in a sweep and is one of the best teams of all time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so maybe they didn't so much choke as the Flyers had one line and that team had, like, you know, Nick Lidstrom on the second pair.
What do you mean, like 70-year-old Paul Coffey wasn't doing it for you?
Yeah.
What do you mean, the tandem of Ron Hextall and Garth Snow wasn't doing it for you?
And I get that me and Charlie say this all the time, like, us as fans hold these things against the organization. And it's like, that's totally unfair to Briere and John Tortorella and the current crop of players.
But we're scarred, Bill. We're scarred.
I'm sorry, I can't not. And I don't want to have this quit on the coach conversation. The players need to suck it up and rally around hating him if that's the case. And if something else is the problem, then there needs to be something to address this. Because Again, I don't expect this team to make the playoffs. I don't expect them to make a run. But they need to not suck on most nights. Doing the rebuild in the fashion that they're doing it, they need to not suck most nights. And whether that's the coach or whether that's the roster, something has to change here.
2023, Ken Hitchcock, John Stevens, Peter Laviolette, Craig Berube, Dave Haxtell, Scott Gordon, Elaine Vigneault, Mike Yeo, and now John Tortorella.
I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done with this.
9 coaches.
I'm done blaming the coach.
In 10 years.
11
years.
The coach needs to be a lot better, but I'm just looking at things like the way the Flyers have scored their 13 goals through 6 games. We have talked, and you know what they need to do? They need to establish a forecheck. They need to create some traffic. They need to just get some dirty goals. Steve, I'm going to read off some of their goals. They're 13 goals through 6 games. I'm not counting, the goal that counts for them in a shootout because that's not a goal.
It's not a goal. It literally doesn't count.
Yeah. Forster finishes off a 3-on-2 down low by redirecting a pass to the far post into the net. Okay, he got to the net. It's a rush play, but
I would love anybody. If anybody got into the net besides Travis Sanheim tonight, they would have had more than 1 goal.
York Snipe, no real screen. Lawton battling in front for position. TK Shorty, 2-on-1. Farabee on the rush off that real nice feed from Brink, where Couturier made a nice play on the stick lift, but it's a rush goal. Michkov's first, where he battled down on the post to poke it in. At least he's battling. It's a dirty goal.
Dirty goal.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Michkov's second, off the feed from Frost. He beats the goalie.
That was a beauty.
That's just a beautiful goal. Brink scored looking for the redirect, but it goes off Ekholm's stick. But Luchenko's going to the net to make it happen. Nice.
Dirty goals.
That's good stuff. Yeah, absolutely. An
Hit
own
that
goal.
Net. Screen that goalie, please.
Lawton wraparound off the paling miss with the real nice play by Hathaway to make it an onside play. That's a nice play, but I wouldn't say it's a dirty goal. Yeah, Lawton shelves it on that touch pass, middle to outside, so he's all alone on the wing. York Snipe. Coots was battling in front, but he wasn't posing a threat.
No.
Drysdale, power play goal to seeing eye shot from long distance. Grubauer couldn't seem to track it with some flyers and Kraken all kind of bunched through the middle. So, okay, they at least created some traffic. Then they were shut out by the Canucks. And tonight, the only goal, Sanheim scores 4-on-4 from the left side on a high to low feed from the opposite point. No traffic, but a good battle from Misch to get the puck out to York to start it off. 2 dirty goals in there out of 30. You're not. All we say is this team has no high-end talent. You're not going to score pretty goals. You're incapable of doing it. And it's just, and we have Charlie. We will get to him in just 1 second. I just need to finish this thought.
Please.
They are not good enough to try to score the way they're scoring.
No.
They need to basically create tush pushes. That's how this team needs to score, and they have failed to.
We all silly like the mayor.